Russia's invading Ukraine. This story is complicated, but we're going to make it simple. Ukraine is the biggest country in Europe and home to 44 million people. It's right next to Russia and used to be part of the Soviet Union. Like many former Soviet states, Ukraine has a lot of Russian speakers, and some regions of the country have people who would like to break away from Ukraine and join Russia. In 2014, Russia invaded one of those regions, the Crimea. According to Vladimir Putin, Crimea has been part of Russia for the last 8 years, but most other countries disagree and say that Russia has been illegally occupying the region. Russia has also been heavily involved in two other parts of Ukraine since then, called Donetsk and Luhansk. Together, these areas are known as the Donbass. Since 2014, Ukrainian forces have been battling Russian-backed fighters who want the Donbass to break away from Ukraine. Despite denying it in the past, Russia has recently stopped trying to hide its involvement in the region. Vladimir Putin said in December that Russian speakers in Donbass are facing genocide at the hands of the Ukrainian government, but there is no evidence of this. In recent months, Russia has moved 150,000 troops around Ukraine's borders, along with tanks and artillery. Russia said it was protecting itself, but Western countries warned it was preparing for invasion. And that's exactly what Russia did this week. In an angry TV address, Vladimir Putin said that the two Donbass regions were actually independent republics, that they weren't legitimate parts of Ukraine.
Украина для нас это не просто соседняя страна. Это неотъемлемая часть нашей собственной истории, культуры, духовного пространства.
Just hours later, Russian soldiers entered the regions on a so-called peacekeeping mission. Since then, Western countries, including the US and UK, have tried to warn Russia not to invade Ukraine further. They placed sanctions on some Russian banks and billionaires, hoping to persuade Vladimir Putin that his economy would suffer if he tried to take the rest of Ukraine. But it hasn't worked. In the early hours of Thursday, Russian troops went beyond Crimea and Donbass and started an assault on the rest of Ukraine. The decision has been condemned around the world. Boris Johnson described it as a catastrophe for our continent. Joe Biden has warned Putin that the world will hold Russia